If y'all done stuck around this long in this video, bro, I got a story for you guys, and I have not told this on YouTube yet. And it's a true scary story. Well, I almost got killed, so I guess you could kind of call it a scary story. But it is, guys. It's your boy Blastphamoushd, and today we are here to probably scare the crap out of ourselves. So this is Try Not to Get Scared challenge. I don't know how well this is gonna go, considering the story I listened to yesterday, like 2 of the stories out of these 9, they were pretty freaking scary as all crap. If you guys wanna watch the original video, the link's in the description down below. It is by Corpse Husband. Let go.
This is something that happened to me about 2 years ago, but thinking about it still gives me chills. I used to live in a small town in rural Missouri with my mother and stepfather. Our house was a few miles outside of town and along an old state highway. We were pretty isolated out there, other than the occasional passing car or farm equipment. One day, I came home from a morning shift at work. I was pretty tired, so I immediately came in the front door and sprawled out on the couch. My mother and stepfather were preparing to go into town to visit a family friend, so I just started a movie and quickly drifted off to sleep. I must have been asleep for a couple of hours before I was woken up to the sound of my front door opening and closing. I laid silently, hoping to fall back asleep. I assumed it was just my parents returning from their visit. After a moment of silence, I heard an unfamiliar voice say, "Where is everybody?" My eyes shot open and I looked up to see a man standing over me. I have never seen this man before. He was tall and muscular, and he was wearing a white t-shirt with cut-off sleeves. He was also covered head to toe in blood. I jumped to my feet instantly. I had never been so scared in my life. Trying to rationalize, I asked, "Are you looking for my parents?" He stared at me for a moment and asked,
"This nigga's covered in blood. Do you want him to find your parents?"
Who I was. I replied by asking, "Who are you and what the fuck are you doing in my house?" He stared at me blankly. I thought I was going to be murdered. He kept talking incoherently and asking where everyone was. At this point, I had no idea who he was referring to. After about 5 minutes of nearly crippling fear, I realized that the blood that was all over his clothes and his face was his own. I glanced out the living room window toward the
"That's not better, and how do you know that's his?"
highway, and then I started to understand. In the drainage ditch in front of my house was a red pickup truck. I told the man to come with me and we went outside. Soon after we got near the truck, another vehicle pulled up. Apparently the man had been drunk driving and had driven his truck into the ditch. He was drunk and had a concussion from the wreck. He was so messed up that he thought that other people were in the truck with him before the wreck, when in fact he had been alone. He had stumbled into the nearest house looking for help. The driver that had just pulled up drove the man to the hospital, and as far as I know, he was okay. Though I understand the situation now, I will never forget this. It was fucking terrifying.
Bro, that has to be one of the scariest things I've ever heard in my freaking life, dude.
A week or so before my 10th birthday, I walked to the corner store with a $5 bill and picked up a jar of ragu for my mom. On my way home, a man I'd never seen before fell in step with me and began talking. "Hi," he said cheerfully. "My name is Dr. Ramsey. I'm a pediatrician. Do you know what a pediatrician is?"
Rapist. That's what it sounds like.
Along silently, not replying and fervently hoping he would take that as a sign that he should leave me alone. Subtleties were not his strong suit, though, because he kept right on chattering. "Are your parents looking for a pediatrician for you? Of course, you're almost a big girl now. You'll be needing another kind of doctor soon, won't you?"
Oh no. Oh yeah, this sounds not good.
"That's okay though. They can still bring you to me until then. What's your name? You have beautiful hair. I was just on my way to get some suckers for the candy jar in my office. Do you like suckers?"
Apparently this story came out before Jared Fogle was caught.
Thankfully, we were nearing my house, so I ran forward up the back steps and in through the kitchen door. I didn't know it then, but that was just the beginning of a very long, very scary ordeal. It didn't take long after that for Dr. Ramsey to begin showing up. At first it seemed benign enough, at least to a kid. He would drive by nearly every day smiling and waving. I told my mom, who said maybe it was just on his way home from work. But then the phone calls began. My dad called me into the living room and sat me down. He asked about the day that Dr. Ramsey followed me home and if I talked to him. He said that I wasn't in trouble, but that I needed to tell him the truth. I told him no, and he asked if I was sure or if I could be forgetting something. I told him no again, and he frowned and then asked, "Then how does he know your name?" I didn't know. It turns out that wasn't all he knew. He knew my sister's name as well. Pretty soon, neither my sister or I were allowed to answer the phone. He called several times a day. At first, neither of us knew what he was saying. Then, one night, one of my brothers told us that he was telling my parents that he was going to hurt me. And later, my sister. Things got complicated after that.
Nobody calls the police?
My dad called the police, but as this was before there were any stalking laws, there wasn't a lot that they could do. They told my parents to call back if he, quote, tried anything. My dad then called a friend of his from back in the day who happened to be a cop. For the next month, my dad's friend escorted me to and from school. Suddenly, life as I knew it came screeching to a halt. I couldn't walk to school alone, I couldn't play outside, I couldn't walk to Super America, which is sort of like a 7-Eleven for those of you who don't know. When access to me was completely denied, things escalated. It was around this time he began threatening my sister as well. Then, one afternoon, my sister, two of my brothers, my mom, and I were in the kitchen. One of my brothers saw a glimpse of someone in the garage. They'd seen him too.
Y'all better have a gun in the house, bro.
Dr. Ramsey came bolting out of the garage, my brothers chasing after him. They ran all the way to Cherokee Park, where he lost them in the trees. My parents called the police again, but nothing came of it. The only information they had was a description and a name that was almost certainly fake.
Man, this is probably the scariest picture I've ever seen in my life.
A couple weeks later, we woke to find our dog hanging from the side porch. She was a gorgeous saddleback German Shepherd born the same day I was. We were all devastated. The cops said that there was no evidence it was him and ruled it accidental, but none of us believed that.
That sounds like the real police.
His phone calls became more informative in the meantime. He would talk about who was home and who wasn't. If my brother would say my dad was home, he would tell him who was really in the house. He would also talk about the house itself. About the window in the kitchen he could easily open with a knife from the outside even when it was locked, and about the French doors that connected the living room to the side porch and how the lock could be finagled from the outside if you jiggled it just right. That night, my dad put in some carpenter nails at the bottom of the French doors until he could get a new lock ordered. My parents had to go to a company event for my dad's work. My older brothers were at St. West roller skating rink. My sister was on the phone with her best friend, my little brother was on the floor asleep, and I was watching Devo on the midnight special with Wolfman Jack. And it was really late. Suddenly, the top of the French doors swung inward, and in the few milliseconds before the nails in the bottom caused them to snap back,
You mean to tell me somebody has broken into your house before with people in there, killed your dog, stalked and threatened your daughters, and you gonna leave them at home by themselves? Makes perfect sense.
could see his silhouette. My sister whipped the phone at the television and we ran up the stairs. About halfway up, we realized our little brother was still asleep on the living room floor. As quietly as we could, we slipped back down the stairs to get him. We all went into our bedroom and didn't turn on the light. This way we could see outside. We watched out the window for a while, and when we didn't find him, we crept down the hall to our brother's room to look. We looked down and could see someone standing at the back door. He knocked loudly. "What do you want?" my sister asked out the window.
Nigga! Why not just turn on the bedroom light, let him know that there's no adults in the house, and show him your hands so he knows you ain't got no weapons? Why not just do that? Why not just poke your butt in the air? Because that's what you're doing.
He stepped back and said, "Is this the Mercy residence? I have a pizza for delivery. Can you come to the door?" She scoffed at him, declaring she was not stupid. She could see he didn't have a pizza and she was calling the cops. He left. A short while later, my brothers returned home. We told them what happened and they walked around the yard looking for him. They came back in and things settled down. By now, we'd pretty much given up on calling the cops because it never helped. So we just went back in, each of us, except my youngest brother still asleep, carrying a knife from the kitchen just in case. Eventually, one of my brothers went into the kitchen to get a bowl of cereal. You know that sensation you get when you can just feel someone watching you? Yeah, he had that in spades. He kept looking around the kitchen through the doorway into the dining room at the windows. He didn't see anything, but he could still feel eyes on him, so he went closer to the door to try and see better. The kitchen lights were reflecting on the windows of the door, as it had 3 rows of 3 windows, so he still couldn't see. He stepped closer, then closer again, until he was right up to the door, then cupped his hands on either side of his head so he could see. There, on the other side of the window pane, was Dr. Ramsey smiling back at him. He turned to yell for my older brothers, but when he looked back again, he was gone. They went out again to look for him, but they didn't see him. The next night, we were at the table playing Crazy 8s, and my brother was restless. My sister asked him what was wrong, and he said he always felt like any minute now there would be a loud noise on a door or window. Almost immediately after he finished his sentence, boom, on the window right behind him. In the chaos, the 2 eldest ran out, but he was already gone. A couple weeks later, I was at school and we were outside on the playground during recess. I was swinging upside down when I saw that now familiar blue Ford Galaxy cruising by, moving slowly. There he was, smiling and waving. He called my name and I ran to the teacher and told her. The school had been told all about him and she took me inside right away and called my mom. That same day, my mom had gotten a call from the school office asking her to verify that my dad was picking me up, as he'd called to say that he was on his way. He wasn't. Not long after that, I woke up one night thirsty. I went down to the kitchen for a drink, and there, sitting alone in the dark, was my dad. On the table, a gun. He was tired of the police waiting until Dr. Ramsey tried something. He was tired of his children being terrorized. He was tired of being afraid every time he left for work that something would happen to us while he was gone. I sat with him for some time, watching, before he sent me back to bed. These events and many more took place over a period of around 18 months. Then, as suddenly as it began, it was over. He had vanished from our lives. The phone calls, the drive-by with the creepy waves, everything. For a long time, during and after the Dr. Ramsey days, I would have a reoccurring nightmare in which I would wake up to find him standing over me as I slept. It took a long time before I felt like a kid again. I found out years later that when he was calling, Dr. Ramsey would tell my parents that he was going to rape and kill me. And later, my sister, and that there was nothing that they could do about it. I don't know what happened to him when he disappeared. I don't know if he was in a car wreck, locked in prison, in a coma, but sometimes I wonder if the wait ended for my dad when he was sitting in the darkened kitchen one night. I don't know, and I'm not sure I want to. And later, my sister, and that there was nothing that they could do about it. I don't know what happened to him when he disappeared. I don't know if he was in a car wreck, locked in prison, in a coma, but sometimes I wonder if the wait ended for my dad when he was sitting in the darkened kitchen one night. I don't know, and I'm not sure I want to.
These stories are some of the best creepypasta, true scary stories I've ever heard in my life. I don't know what I would do in that situation, man.
About a year ago, in my final semester in college, I worked at a department store in the mall. I didn't have a car yet, so I asked for day shifts because it was a 2-hour bus ride back home. So basically, if I had a closing shift, I'd get it done at 11 but not get home until 1 a.m. But sometimes I'd be given closing shifts, much to my annoyance since I had a 6:45 a.m. class and my mother's worry because who wants their kid on public transport that late? I mean, sometimes she could come and get me, but it'd be too much of a hassle to get my younger sisters out that late and such, so I never asked her. My managers, being the jerks that they were, gave me a week of closing shifts, knowing my situation. I was pissed, but whatever. One night, I had just finished my shift, got on the bus, sat in the back, and was minding my business when my iPod died. I was annoyed, but I just kept my earbuds in and occupied myself by playing a crossword on my phone. About 2 seats behind me, I hear these guys speaking Spanish. Now, my stepmother is Puerto Rican, so while I understand a fair bit of Spanish, I don't speak it. So I hear them talking, but I don't pay attention because it's rude to eavesdrop and all. That was until they say, "That black girl up there." Then my ears perk up. I keep my earbuds in so that they think I can't hear them, and I continue listening. What they're saying is horrific. To paraphrase, they knew my stop, which was the second to last one before the bus gets back to the terminal, and while my stop is at the front of my neighborhood, it's got no streetlights, and at this time of night, it's empty. And to put it simply, they were planning on, quote, snatching that piece of ass up. I was about 20 minutes away from home, so I knew I had to act quickly. Since I knew they could see me, as they were 2 seats behind me, but like across if that makes any sense, I pretended to play on my phone, acting oblivious while I was actually texting my mom. I text her saying, "Mom, can you please meet me at the bus stop?" 5 minutes go by, but no answer. We're getting closer to my stop, so I decide to call her cell phone. No answer. I call the house phone and she finally answers. It's about 12:30 a.m., so she was sleeping. I try to talk as calm and cheerily as I can. This was our conversation. "Hey Mom, did you get my text?" No, what's up?" "Oh, I sent you a picture of these jeans I'm gonna order online when I get some. I really need your opinion, so I really need you to go look since the sale ends at 1 a.m. She gets the hint that I need her to look at her cell phone, so I say goodbye and hope for the best. We get to my stop, and thank God I see my mom's car. I pick my shit up and hightail it off the bus. I don't even look behind me to see if they're following me. I jump in the car and tell my mom to just go. I look in the rear view and I see the guys just staring at the car. The next morning, I called my job and told them I quit. No more public transport for me. Thanks to my stepmom for teaching me Spanish, and thanks to my mom for getting the hint. I hope I never see those creepy, weird Spanish-speaking guys again.
If y'all done stuck around this long in this video, bro, I got a story for you guys, and I have not told this on YouTube yet. And it's a true scary story. Well, I almost got killed, so I guess you could kind of call it a scary story. It happened on the bus, just like this. So, back in the day, I used to live on Maryland Parkway and Tropicana. And I used to take the 109 bus like every day. And since it's only a 15-minute wait for that bus, like it wasn't really that bad, even in the summertime. My little brother KT used to do YouTube videos too. Me and him were on that bus. This was like about a good 10 years ago. He's probably like 24 or something. So we're gonna say he was like 14 at the time. So I was probably like 22. Me and him, we get on the bus and we're walking to the back of the bus. And for some reason on this day, the bus is crowded as all living hell. You already know when the bus is that crowded, you have to push past people to get all the way to the back so that they can fit more people onto the front. Out of nowhere, this gangbanging type of dude, he yells out, "Hey, what the fuck is wrong with you, cuz? Don't make me slap you, nigga." You know, I turn around to see who's about to get slapped. I'm like, oh snap, world star, this is a fight. I turn around to see my little brother like standing face to face with this dude who's noticeably way older than him, right? But the guy was like a gangbanger, a do-rag wearing type of dude. The guy was sitting in his seat and my brother trying to move past him accidentally stepped on his shoe. For me, I don't like to fight, but you know what I mean? It's my little brother. I'm not gonna have some dude coming at him sideways or, you know, like trying to fight my little brother. So, you know, damn that. I asked the guy, yo, like, what's wrong? And the dude's like, "No, man, this little nigga just stepped on my shoes. Nigga, I don't give a fuck, man. No, man, you get slapped out here, cuz." I'm like, yo, like, that's my little brother. And he's like, "I don't give a shit who it is. Nigga, I'll slap you too." I'm angered in this situation because he's talking like this to me and my brother. So I'm a little bit mad. So I'm like, whoa. Bro, you got a problem with my little brother. You got a problem with me. What's up? He's got his backpack on top of him. He's sitting in his seat. I take a step close to him to let him know, yo, man, you ain't gonna talk to me and my little brother any type of way, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shit's cool, but, you know, don't get it twisted. glove. He's like, oh, word? Oh, word, you got a problem like that? And I'm like, well, what's up? Yeah, I got a problem. What's up? Homie reaches into his pocket and pulls out a leather glove and puts on the leather glove. And I'm thinking, like, you need to wear a glove to fight? Nigga, we ain't about to dance battle, bro. Like, what you need a glove? What you need a glove for? You ain't Michael Jackson. So then I kind of got my answer. He then takes the hand that he just put the glove on and reaches into his open backpack and pulls out a pistol. And not just any pistol. It probably has to be one of the biggest handguns I've ever seen in my life. He doesn't point it at me, but he holds it in his hand and he has it in his lap. And he's like, what's up now? I did what any real nigga would do in that situation. Immediately started to apologize. I ain't like start crying and none of that, you know, oh man, please, nah. You know what I mean? Like, it's really weird, man. Like, I don't know, like growing up in the type of areas where I grew up at, you kind of, I don't know, it's weird. You kind of get this weird steel about you. You know what I mean? Because like if you cry and freak out or whatever, man, you know what I mean? You kind of escalate the situation in a way. But if you stay calm, cool and collected, the person that you're dealing with kind of stays a lot more calm, cool, and more collected. You feel me? So, you know, I'm just staring at the dude in his eyes, man. My little brother, he's freaking out. KT's freaking out. He's behind me, man. I don't think he started crying, but honestly, I don't remember because I wasn't looking at him. I just remember him freaking out when he saw the gun. So I'm just like, look, man, this is my little brother. You know what I mean? I know what the type of person you is. If somebody was trying to have a situation with somebody you cared about, you would do the same thing I did. It's my little brother. We don't want no problems. We don't want no trouble. You know what I mean? I just can't have somebody coming at my little brother like that. You know what I mean? I know you being the type of person you is, you understand. But I don't want, you know what I mean? Like, it ain't even that serious. We don't want no problems. You know what I mean? We cool. The only reason why no one else on the bus noticed is because number one, it was crowded, and number two, we didn't really raise our voices that much. Like when he pulled it, I didn't raise my voice, and he didn't raise his voice either. And I think me being so calm and collected towards him, he kind of understood, like, bro, I ain't willing to lose my life over someone stepping on my shoe. Like, it's not even that serious. So he put the gun away. That's not where the story ends, though. It gets more interesting, if you can call it that. Tell me why this white guy who had 3 kids with him, you know, he looked like the basic stay-at-home deadbeat dad. Wife beater, you know, basketball shorts. So for some reason, I guess my little brother bumped into him too. And since he was bigger than my little brother, he started trying to bang on my little brother too. But the crazy shit is that before I could say anything to this guy, the dude who pulled his gun earlier jumps, like literally jumps up and gets in the guy's face. It's funny because, you know, I'm walking towards the dude and the homie look at me like, nah, bro, I got this. And I'm like, do you? Dude turns back around towards the dude, slaps the dog mess out of homie in front of his 3 kids. The 3 kids start screaming their eyes out, please don't hurt my dad, even though the dude was starting to mess. But one thing that's really funny about a lot of people who are down to fight other people, they're only down to fight people smaller than them. And if they ever get into a situation with somebody who's gonna fight them back on fair ground, they freak the hell out. Like, they just become a female for the most part. Because that's what this dude did. He was literally hiding behind his children. And the kids are standing in front of him. Please don't hurt my dad. Please don't hurt my dad. I'm pretty sure the guy wasn't gonna shoot him, but he was gonna dig up in that ass. And the only reason why he didn't do it was because the guy's kids. Story doesn't finish there either. This is funny shit. And this is relatable because I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have seen this happen or maybe even gone through it. So the guy is as quiet as a mouse because he doesn't want to get beat the hell up, right? He's using his kids as a shield because he's scared. And the dude who pulled the gun is consistently talking that ish to the dude. Yo, man, Lord, wow, man, you like your kids is here, nigga. Out, look out, now, you don't even play with me, dude. What the wrong with you, pussy, bro? And the dude didn't say nothing. White dude just had his kids. Oh God. Y'all ever saw somebody on a roller coaster and the whole time the dude is just waiting for it to end? Please, God, please. Like, that's what this dude was like. Bruh, tell me why. White dude finally gets to his stop. Him and his kids get off the bus. At this point, it was so loud that everybody on the bus was paying attention, but nobody had the balls, including me, to step up and tell the dude to calm down. No one knew he had a gun except for me. That's the biggest reason I wasn't willing to say nothing, but also this dude tried to bully my little brother. Good luck, nigga, I ain't got your back. Hey, I never forget this shit. Guy gets on the sidewalk. He waited until the doors closed the bus doors. So the bus is about to get second and to pull it off. And the dude goes ballistic. Now that he's safe, he knows that the guy can't get off the bus because the bus is already moved. Dude starts picking stuff up and throwing it at the bus, trying to kick the bus, yelling and screaming like he was gonna do the most. So somehow me and the dude on the bus with the gun became good friends. And that is how I met Randy. Randy's never pulled a gun on me, I'm joking. But me and that dude, we did talk for like the rest of the bus ride. We were cool. You know what I mean? We were cool, we had a cool little conversation for the rest of the bus ride or whatever. It was crazy. You guys are welcome for the scary story, but back to these scary stories though. If you guys wanna hear more of my crazy life stories, bro, I've told like 100 of them. I'm gonna leave a link to the playlist in the description. Back to the scary stuff.
A few years back, my girlfriend and I, having hiked several other parts of the Appalachian Trail, decided we wanted to give the southern portion of Virginia's trail a shot. It's about 166 miles long and runs through George Washington and Jefferson National Forest from Roanoke County to Pearlsburg and Giles County.
No.
This is definitely one of the more remote and less traveled parts of the trail, which is exactly what we were looking for. We gathered our gear and made our way to the start of the Virginia Creeper Trail to begin our journey. We had planned our journey to end at Damascus and figured that by the time we got there, we would be more than ready to get home to our own beds. It was early October and the changing of the leaves and colors were amazing. The air was crisp and cool. It was pretty much perfect hiking weather with beautiful scenery. The majority of the trip was pretty uneventful, just your typical hike. But our last couple of nights is where things got weird. On this portion of the trail, you're supposed to camp on the trail or a designated shelter. We didn't really want to run into any other people and didn't want anyone coming up on us in the middle of the night. So we decided to ignore those suggestions and find our own little spot off the trail. A little searching around and we found a spot a little ways off the trail in the middle of a small clearing.
This just sounds like the plot from the latest Blair Witch movie, which isn't good.
We set up camp, cooked some food, talked for a while, then snuggled up and went to sleep for the night. Somewhere around 2 a.m., I was awoken by my girlfriend shaking me awake and telling me,
"Get your gun. Someone is outside walking around our tent."
She informed me that she woke up to what sounded like someone right outside of the tent running a knife or something along the side while circling us. When hiking, I carry a 1911 and a judge with me. After all, you never know exactly who or what you might run into when on such a long hike in a remote location.
That is the realest shit she ever wrote.
I got the judge out of my pack, and then we sat silently, listening for any sounds. A few minutes of nothing but the breeze blowing through the trees, and then I heard it. Snapping and crunching noises, someone or something walking in the woods behind our tent. I got the flashlight and silently made my way out of the tent. Our fire had went out, so it was nearly pitch black, illuminated by only the dim glow of the October moon. I told my girlfriend to stay put while I checked it out. I didn't flick the flashlight on right.
Yeah, nigga, damn that. If we in the tent, out in the wilderness, it's middle of the night, I hear some shit outside, I am secure enough in my masculinity to hand her the pistol and have her go check it out. Survival of the fittest.
Right away, so as not to give away that I was out of the tent and have it become a shining beacon of my location. Instead, I waited to hear more noises. After a few minutes, I heard another snap, crunching, and cracking. It sounded like it was bipedal based on the way the steps were paced. I turned on the flashlight and flooded the area with light. I thought I saw someone move behind a tree. I yelled out and told them to go away and that I was armed. I kept the light on the area with my gun drawn and slowly approached towards the area where I thought I saw the figure. Then, from my right, I hear what sounds like someone running away through the woods. I spin and face my light that way, and then from the original spot hear who or whatever it was there take off into the woods. There's no way I'm giving chase, so I return to the campsite. I tell my girlfriend about what happened, and I end up sitting guard outside the tent in the darkness until daybreak.
Bro, I'm shooting. No remorse, bro. I don't give a shit. That's just real about black culture in general, nigga. You scare me bad enough, you just get shot. or beat the hell up. And you can't convince me that it's my fault. Y'all ever had some shit like that happen? Somebody starts some shit with you, and then when they find out that they don't want the problem that they just created, then they try to treat you like you're the problem for defending yourself, for them starting to try to fight you? Nigga!
In the morning, I looked around a bit for signs of who or whatever it was, and I discovered a boot print in some soft, moist dirt not far from our tent. It wasn't mine, and it wasn't my girl's. This really freaked me out, as it confirmed that someone, perhaps more than one, was skulking around our tent in the dark. I kept it to myself because I didn't want to freak my girl out any more than she already was.
Smart.
At this point, we were pretty deep in and still had 2 days left. That day, we walked a little faster than normal and covered as much ground as possible.
Y'all didn't leave after that? Oh, okay, never mind. You stupid. You stupid.
When it came time to set up camp, I found a spot near a cliff where we could place the tent in a small overhang and prevent anyone from coming up behind us. The whole day up to this point, I had a feeling we were being followed. I had no confirmation of this, as I hadn't seen or heard anyone else, but it was just a gut feeling. We set up camp and made some food, and then retreated to the tent. I gave my girl the 1911, and I kept the judge right next to me, and I assured her that if I slept at all, it would be with one eye open. After a while, she drifted off to sleep, and I stayed awake listening to the sounds of the woods at night. I was awake for a few hours, just waiting to see if anything was going to happen. At some point, I guess my exhaustion caught up with me, and I drifted off. I awoke sometime later to what sounded like someone going through our stuff outside the tent. I grabbed my gun and woke my girlfriend, shushing her to be quiet. From the faint glow of the fire, I could see someone's silhouette against the tent. There really was someone out there. I yelled out to them something along the lines of, "We are armed, get the fuck out of here." They dropped what they were doing and bolted. I came out of the tent, gun drawn and ready to shoot someone. Our stuff was strewn all about. They had rummaged through quite a bit of our stuff. I walked to the edge of the woods in the direction whoever was out there had fled. There was a creek nearby, and I walked to the edge where there was a small trail running alongside it. Down the creek, I could see a light. It looked like a lantern the way it flickered. Then I saw 3 more emerge from the other side of the woods. I told my girlfriend to start packing up whatever she could and that we were leaving now. We packed up everything of value, left the tent and a few other items, and headed back onto the trail in the middle of the night. I kept hearing people talking off in the woods and hearing branches snap for quite some ways. I kept looking behind us every few seconds to make sure nobody was coming up on us. It was completely nerve-wracking. If something...
First of all, your biggest mistake was letting these niggas know you had a pistol. I'm looking as defenseless as possible. I want y'all to show me what y'all was gonna do to me if I was just some random defenseless dude out here. When I've ascertained the information that I want of what y'all was gonna do with me, if it's grimy enough, now you getting shot, nigga. Nah, there's no remorse.
Happened, we were still a long ways from anywhere and quite literally on our own, since we hadn't seen another hiker the entire time we'd been out there. I really felt we were in serious danger. We had been walking for quite some time when I heard something in the woods behind us. As we rounded a corner, I turned around and saw someone step out onto the trail and just stand there watching us. It was just as the sun was coming up and there was barely any light, so I couldn't
I'd have shot that nigga.
make out any features. It was just the silhouette. I stopped and looked at them for a sec and asked them who they were and what they wanted. They just stood there, silently watching us, and then turned and walked back into the woods. We picked up the pace and kept going, looking back every so often. We didn't see them again, but my gut told me that they were still there for quite a ways. We eventually reached the end of the trail and got to where we had parked my girlfriend's car, extremely exhausted. We made it out of the Virginia woods without becoming a meal for a clan of cannibalistic inbred hillbillies, which is what I pictured happening in my head the whole time. I have no idea who they were or what they wanted. Maybe it was just someone messing with us? Or maybe it really was a clan of deformed hillbillies who were hunting us. I'll never know because I will not be returning to find out.
Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a whole lot longer than my videos usually are. If you guys want to watch the rest of this video, the link is in the description down below. It leads to Corpse Husband's channel. Make sure to go check him out, subscribe. If you guys want to check out some of my crazy life stories, I have a link in the description leading to that playlist. I have a ton of crazy stories leading from trying to have sex with girls who aren't trying to have sex with me back, which that doesn't sound good now that I think about it. You know what I mean? Me getting shot at and, you know, fights and all of this stuff, you know, growing up in the projects. I got a ton of them. But yo, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to comment, like, and or subscribe. This is your boy Blastphamoushd. Wisdoms.